We've built our data flow. We've built that spreadsheet. That spreadsheet. You understand what's going on? We all know what's next then. We bring it into the semantic model, and then we can get started in the big picture part, can't we? Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching right now. Where we are now is that critical point, okay? We've gone all through the data engineering layer. We're bringing all our data sources together. We've got them mapped and imported through. Those ETL processes, extract, transform, and load, have taken place. We're at that difficult point where one methodology calls it kind of, well, you've done this bit now, and I argue about it. I think it's misleading to call that done. Okay, what I'm talking about is this medallion architecture piece where we've got bronze, silver, gold. Gold is the critical layer. A lot of people say ETL, we've now got the tables, they're gold. No, they're not. They can't be gold. Gold has business logic and relationships applied. That makes it the semantic model layer. I'm sorry, that's my view. Put a comment down below if you disagree. So let's have a look at the semantic layer that we're going to build today. And then let's also see what happens next and see if you can figure out where we're going with this. So here we are, our Excel spreadsheet. This is important to us, isn't it? What I'm doing now is just putting in quick and easy, something quick and easy, putting a little summary sheet just so we can see kind of what's going on, to help us get a bit of a feel for the flavor of our data in terms of, is it good, is it bad, have we got everything we think? Because some things I'm not convinced about, but, you know, I could be wrong. You never know. So we're going to start here. So I think I'm going to put in is, let's put in a blanks row, yeah? So what we're going to do is like count blanks, and this is going to be in lab, and it's going to be lab. Okay, so these will be the ones that we haven't processed yet, because that's important. Got 0. That's what we want to be seeing, isn't it? Equals, we'll do the same here. So count blanks, and this is going to be in inspect. Oh. Inspected by, close back. Double that. What have I done wrong? Oh, it's single, wasn't it? Silly me, right? So we've got this now. Okay, so we've built a simple table, so we can kind of come in, start of our session when we want to come through in here, we can go through from the data tab. It's the data tab, isn't it? Yeah. And we hit refresh data, refresh all, and it'll go away and it's going to query the data model, or query, sorry, our source, this API that we've got in New York. Ideal, perfect. There's not really much more that we could possibly want in this. Right? It's going to say, oh, not sure about this, just say organizational, and away it will go and process. Okay? So this is now a tool that will work for us. You can, in Excel, set it so when anybody opens it, it will go and it will run the refresh. That will work too. Okay? And then obviously we save it into a SharePoint location. That's what we want. And then from that SharePoint location, we've got a data flow in place now, which is going to pull it in and read in and actually assess what's happening with it. And that's kind of the core piece we want to get to. So we're at the SharePoint location. We're at everything. Okay. I haven't built the data flow for this yet, just because if you remember where we left it, we said, well, would we want to put this into our original one, or would we want to do it somewhere else? So I'm going to do this somewhere else, just kind of to show you what I mean, doing it somewhere else. But no, you could go back into our data flow, do it in there, because this is not dependent on the data flow. That's the key piece, okay? The data flow exists separately. So this data flow could read this in and process it. This is doing its own API call, building its own table structure, and then we could push it back through. What we're going to do as well with this, though, is we're going to keep both columns. We are going to keep both columns. And there's method in my madness for this, because what I want to do is be able to say, right, the hierarchy is this, but then we've got a way of looking at, well, what was the original in the report if we need to? Because I think that's important as well. If I'm looking, I'm saying, well, this isn't necessarily what we want. I want to be able to see those original values. So I could turn around and say, actually, this one's wrong. Can we request a change, send somebody or ask somebody to go and update that? So the next refresh cycle, it's fixed. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay. So we've got this built. Okay, the next step is going to be to come in and say, right, let's go to a Power BI desktop file. We're going to transform data. So click the button, click transform data, click transform data, and bring this back through. It's so annoying that it's gone there. Okay. And we now have our queries. It's nothing in this Power BI desktop file. It's like opening my sleeves. There's nothing in my sleeves. What we can do here, or what we do here, is we're going to say we want recent sources. Let's go to SharePoint initially. I don't even know if this is the right SharePoint location. It's not. We should say new source, more sources, under Fabric. Let's pick data flows. Connect. Hope I didn't hit cancel. Good. Right. Under workspaces. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Okay. Under workspaces, we're going to look and we're going to say, right, we want our parkrun, not parkrun, our foods. Where did I put it? Okay. So we go dev. Here we go. NYC Water 3. Let's pick those 3 tables that we want. Okay. Pick those. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pick from our data core. Let's bring in our calendar table. Okay. Remember I said we had a centralized calendar. Makes sense to do. Okay. So we can do those. We're going to hit OK. And it'll bring these through. What I'm going to do next as well, just because we want to keep this simpler, is I'm going to come through with this calendar table. I'm just going to change the year filter on it. Okay. So I'm going to say we want this to be, excuse year drift, just because that's easiest for me. All right, let's find year. There's a year column in here. Here we go. Let's go year. Number filter is greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to 2000. Okay, so we're going to say we want year 2000 onwards. Nothing to worry about with that. Okay, simple things. Missed out a whole century of table of content in there. We never use. I don't know when this started. I think it's around 2010 that this data set starts. So 2000 is fine. We could dial this further back if we wanted to. We could actually write something that would pull through the initial inspection date and pick that year and say, well, this is what we're going to start with. There's lots of options. Again, these would be things that you would do if your model was getting too big. This is going to be a small punchy model no matter what we do. So we're not going to worry too much about it. So finally, we're going to get a new thing, new source, more. We want to get a SharePoint folder. I don't think there's a way you can pull a SharePoint file off the top of my head. I don't think there is. It's fine. Let's get a SharePoint folder. NYC Water Towers. Okay, so we're here. So what we do then is go transform data. We're going to pick to say, well, we want the name of it is normalization.xlsx. We've got a single file now. That's what we want. And expand the binary on here. Okay, and at this point, I will split this because if you remember, we're going to want to be able to pull through the raw, or sorry, not the raw. If you remember, we're going to want to pull through the lab, and we're also going to be able to want to pull through who carried out the inspection. So we need these 2 tables. So we need to split this. I'm just going to do this. Remove enable load. This file open. And then we're going to reference this. Let's call this lab. And we'll reference this. We'll call this inspected by. So far, so good. So inspected by, we want to just keep inspected by. And we want to expand the table. Simple. And then finally, what we will do is we will use first row as header. And let's do the same with lab. So we're going to pick lab. Again, you don't necessarily need to filter by lab, but it just helps when you come back to look in the future, what's going on. Got that, we're opening there. You do kind of get it where it's saying the item lab. But you always need to think about what this is going to mean in 6 months when I come back to it and I've not been looking here for a long time. That's why we say it's really important that we name our steps and that we go into actually adding detail about each of our steps that we've got going on. So we've got these ones here. Okay. And, I need to make this do the first row of header first. Okay, so there we go. Now, what we really want to do then is to be able to come into inspections and say for our inspection by firm. Okay. So what we're going to do then is we're going to say, right, so for inspections, if we go to inspected by firm and we choose to merge, so merge queries, we're going to merge inspected by firm with inspected by and inspected by firm. I'm going to say these are both organizational. And let's see what level this comes back with. So we can see from here, so this is the important number. Pretty much got a full match, but there's 20 that aren't matched. It's more likely these are blank or something else like that, but we can have a look. I'm going to hit OK. Zoom back out. Okay, and then let's say what we should do is we need to keep the inspected by, because the inspected by firm has been used as a match. So it's silly keeping that, isn't it? We're going to expand that. So that's one. Then what we're going to do is go where we've got lab name, and we're going to go in here, and we're going to say, right, let's merge queries with that. Lab name, lab name. Just come back and say, oh, even worse, 300 missing. Again, it's more likely they're blanks. Yeah. Go through and say, right, we're going to keep lab. Not sure why it's added the .1 and then it's quite happy saying off, that's fine. Okay, so we've suddenly got something that's got everything together. And again, if we were saying, right, we don't need this stuff, we could also delete the original column that we used to merge. Remember with Power Query, you need to do it after those steps because you're following the recipe, aren't you? We might need a table or a column to help build something. Once we no longer need it or we don't want to load it through, we can delete it afterwards. Lots of common sense ways of doing things that way. So we've built it. We've got our results, which we're, as I say, going to have to look through. So we've got the inspection ID that merges through, and then you've got all the various bits of results underneath it, because potentially we're not going to want, or we're just going to want specific areas for it. So there's potentially going to have to be lots of measures to pull this information in. Not really an issue for us. Okay, and then obviously lastly, we've got the buildings that we're going to deal with. So we've got everything that we need is now present. The last thing to do is just to disable load for this inspected by and lab. You could choose to leave it. As I say, I'm just disabling it for now. Actually thinking about it, probably the sensible thing would be to keep them. Or actually to reference them, because we'd want to, we're going to hide them for now. Okay. What we could do, is what I'm saying, what we would like to do, is build a proper directory. So this would be the piece we haven't got. If we had a directory of these are the genuine ones that are there, those are the names that we would have used in that table, or we would have used the reference, the proper ID for those companies. So, a lab might have an ID reference that they've got. So you can work out what we would need to do. But this spreadsheet, again, would be good to go. You might, as I say, be putting the ID in, do other things in Excel to look up the ID, to name. again, build stuff. So we can do that. And then at that point, you would build a lab and an inspected by dimension so that you could actually explore a bit more information about the people that are doing the inspections, or the labs that are being used. Like, where's their address? What's their phone number, email address, these things. How can I contact these people? What's their, not TripAdvisor, but their Google reviews looking like? Those kind of things. So we've got that. So we've built everything we need. So we're just going to close and apply this. Okay, then all of a sudden, we have a basic data model. Okay, we can see if we go and have a look in the modeling here, it will have, when this loads, it will have attempted to join the tables. Some people like this, some people hate this. Depending on what you're doing, like if you're doing a proper enterprise project, definitely turn off auto joins, because every time you go back through and it starts trying to do things, it'll be terrible. When you first get to a model like this, always turn it on. It's not going to cause you any problems. Okay. Tip, remember what I always say? Create a new one of these. So step one is going to be, let's check the calendar. What's the calendar linked to? So we bring in the calendar, and we're going to bring in the related tables. So it's linked to nothing. That says something is not right with this. So we need to come back through to here, inspections, inspection date. You see it's saying it's text. So we need that to be date. There's maybe a problem. We might need to go back through. Dates are always a problem with these things. It's not happy with that, is it? So let's go back to transform the data. It's probably a US date that we need to figure out what we're doing with it. Well, we changed the US dates, but okay, maybe we didn't. So yeah, 10/21 this. So what we would do with this is let's go in here. Let's click on there. Let's go use locale. Date. And it's going to be in English, United States. Okay. Click OK. And we now have a UK date format. It's the most unintuitive thing. So what it's doing is it's picking up saying, well, we want a proper date, but the date that's here is in the wrong format. So it's going to go, okay, I'll read that as a US date, and then I'll present it as a date that makes sense in the context of here. Right? And then if we were traveling around, it would do it, and this is the context of a date that you have defined here. So we have said, I want a date, inspection date, but it's in US date format. Zoom back out of there. Let's go and close and apply. Let's check calendar first actually as well. Yeah, it is dates. Thought it was, just double checking. You never know. We're in here. Let's go to dates, because it's always useful to do this. As I say, get into the habit. Build lots and lots of views. There's no impact on having lots of views in terms of what will happen to my model. There is an impact in that it allows you to see around a particular table what's going on. So I would always say for key fact tables and for the calendar table, it's well worth having all those joins are in place with those, because those are the areas where you're going to get stung. Okay, so we can then go through and say, right, inspections. Okay, so here, let's bring in inspections. We know calendar is already linked to it. We're not going to bring that in. Bring in buildings. So we can see we've got BBL or bin. Let's go linking in bin. Okay, this is our relation is many to many, so it's not bin. Let's go bibble. Another many to many. Something's not right with our buildings. Shouldn't have a many to many. Shouldn't be a many to many. Let me go back in and check and transform data. Okay, well, we see we're making progress. This is the problem when you build these things weeks in advance and then suddenly forget where we are. So what we want to look at is bin and BBL, isn't it? Unique empty string, so there's 7 blanks. Okay, which is part of that problem. So let's check BBL. What was the other one? Bin. there's bin. So they're all unique, but again, we've got 6 empties. So that's the issue. It's the blanks. So we've identified we've got some blanks in here that we're going to really need to work through. Looking at them though, there's big chunks of information missing about these ones. So are these now invalid? Potentially we could say that, couldn't we? Or is it something else going on? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come through here and say, let's see where this, let's select all, not blank. Okay, so where we want not blank, bin, and we'll link with bin. Close and apply that. Okay, and then we can bring bin to bin. And that will work. Still not happy about it, is it? Still saying something's not right. We can explore these further, but you can see it's pulled something through. So we have a relationship, but it's not ideal. So we do definitely need to do something more around these to piece together and get this working right. It could well be that bin is text. Is it text? Yeah, so it's type text on both. We may want to make it an integer. Okay, so we could change that. So let's make that an integer or a whole number. Just do that on both sides. Okay, we'll check and we can keep going. But this is why that final part that we need to think through has to be here. Okay, and then what we're going to do is when you've done all this, you've pulled all your models here, you've built all your relationships. Okay, we've got everything that we would want. There's 2 steps still to do. Okay, so step number 1 is going to be, this is always the simplest one. So I will say to it, right, let's go, we're going to create blank table. So we're going to enter data. And this is going to be our DAX. Okay, and then we're going to create another one. Secondary. Okay, I believe very firmly in secondary. In secondary, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new measure. We're going to call this Hello World, the name of it. Rate report level measures here. Okay, so we've got something there. Then what we can do is we can hide this. That's going to make it appear as a DAX table at the top, so measures table. And lastly, we've got this DAX one. So the first thing we do is what I would always say is create a new measure. Buildings equals count rows, buildings. Okay. So we've now got a measure that's going to give us that building count. Okay, in terms of this, you probably want to go through and create a few measures like this that are going and referencing and giving you those core values that we want. Okay, so we could turn around and say, new measure, inspections equals count rows, inspections. Okay, because that's what we want to do, isn't it? We just count the rows of inspections. And we can see this works. We bring this in, and we bring calendar in, and we bring year. See, we've got, here we go. We can see what's happening. So we've got year over year, what's happening. 2014 is when it started. So what we could do is we go back. Let's go back into here, transform data. Let's go back to our calendar. Okay, filtered. Let's change this to say 2014. Okay, so on or after 2014. Close and apply. Suddenly, we've got something going. We probably want to make that a bit of a column chart so we can start to see, right? Everything, it makes sense. We've got it all there. We can do more and more. You can build this up. Okay, so we've got something going, haven't we? We're just going to save this now. Here. E3 main. Saved. Now, I'm going to publish this. Okay, because that's what we need to do, isn't it? We need to publish this up so we could then test, get ready for it. As I say, let's pretend I've built everything we need to do with it. Hit publish. We're going to publish it to dev v3. Yep, 3. Publish there. Brilliant. So what we can do is we can choose, now we're here in our NYC dev area, you can see what we've got. So we've got quite a lot already built. We're pulling in a calendar table from from where we've got it. We've got our V3 data flows coming through, and we've got our SharePoint file source. The thing with this is coming into the semantic model. And then obviously we've got a report, and over time we'll add additional reports to it, and that's fine. But this is where these deployment pipelines that you have in Power BI, if you remember we built this before, going to start to cause problems, because we've built this. We can say, right, click on this to see what's the development rules we've got, the deployment rules, what do we need to do? Let's go and stage the settings. Sorry, not that. It is, so there's 3 changes that need to be done. Okay, only in source. So what we can start to do is saying, well, deploy from here. So it's only in the source. So we could say, well, let's pick all of them and deploy them. Bring these through. We could put a note in and hit deploy. I'm not going to put a note in for now. I just want to hit deploy for now. So what's going to happen is it's going to pull these through. But what's it pulling through? This is the key question. So if we go through and we have a look now at what's in here, okay, in test, and we have a look at the lineage view, okay, so it's come through, it's here, right? That's good. It's managed to do everything that's in. So it's remapped our data flows, which is perfect. This is what we would want it to do, okay? It's potential as well. It's remapped our report. Right, but do you see the challenge that we've got here? In essence, what we've built now is we've got a duplicated data source as is. We haven't got necessarily the ability to go in and say, right, this is going to have a different way of working. You can do some things with database settings and things like that with databases as your source. But for the sake of this, we said all along, we're going to do this with files because that's where a lot of places start. And what you're seeing here is the reason why we recommend that you separate your workflows, your workspaces by workflow. Yeah, your workspaces by workflow, not workflows by workspaces. Workspaces by workflow. So you have an editing workflow. And that was what we did before we went through and did our last video series on here. So we go through and we can see we've got this data flow workspace for NYC taxis, data flow workspaces for various things, DFWS, data flow workspaces. These are data engineering workloads. These workloads are data engineering. And the result of this is, here is a, for want of a better terminology, using going back to our medallion architecture, here is a silver level table that you can use. This is the complete table that you can use. And to say, I understand why they call it gold, because the idea is this is gold, this is good, this is what the official source of truth is, as opposed to silver, which is, we're kind of working on it, it's kind of good, it's pretty much there, but it might not be the official one. So I get the difference, but yeah, this is the point of having this. We could have multiple versions of similar data here that are then available to be picked into semantic models. And that's why we have that. And then we say, let's have semantic data model workspaces and then multiple report workspaces. Because while this works, doing this, and we can see here, it's remapped the data flows to it. We need to still go through and double check and make sure it has definitely remapped these data flows. But we can understand what's happening at each stage. The nice thing then is, if you separate the workflows out and do it that way, your chances are you're going to have different layers of responsibility. So at this point, I would need to have people who understand the data flows and the models in here, okay? Which is potentially two different groups of people. I might even have a third party who's engaged to build the ETL scripts for a particular system. Anyway, you get a clear understanding of what's going on. So we build these, we get everything set up. We've got this now. The end point of this, and I don't know if you noticed, if we looked at the view of the deployment pipeline, the end point is this where I've said water towers gold, because that should be where we're aiming to get to. This is going to be our true source of truth for everybody. And this would be where we'd want people to connect. That's why I'm saying gold. Okay, this is where the semantic model is going to be for New York water towers. Gold. Yeah. Okay. But if we do that and we talk about apps and how the consumption layer is going to happen, what would you do? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Yeah? Have we had a look at these data deployment pipelines? Had a look at them. Don't know what you feel. I like them in theory. I just don't think they work in practice, partly with what they do and the way the application is. I get the point though. Okay, I really do. What do you think? Getting this right is important, okay? You have to understand the methodology that will work for you and your organization is not necessarily the methodology that will work for your friends, for your colleagues in their organization. And that isn't a problem. Please do not think it's a problem. What we need is a way of making sure that we've got engineering workloads that are taking place and are being done correctly. We then need to have a way of building those semantic models and making sure that they are built and optimized correctly. Lastly, we're going to need a way of building and deploying apps that people are going to use and how we structure those apps. And again, we will cover our recommendation on apps and where it differs from a lot of what we see around the various channels and various commenters on the Power BI platform. Our method is based on, we've done this is what we do day in, day out for clients. This is about making sure you've got an enterprise-wide solution as well, as opposed to a point solution. There's a big difference. Enterprise-wide is what you want your Power BI platform to be. You want it to be your strategic data alignment layer. All data flows through it and is surfaced up through that platform that way. That's the mindset. That's where success happens. That's where you keep it working. Baking in the agility of the tool as well is vital. So we need to make sure we've got that agility kind of really baked in to the way that we structure what we do in Power BI. But it all comes together and hangs in it. So these deployment pipelines, they are very good, very robust. They will work, but you need to think through the whole, what's happening in each point. Is it giving us what we need for doing the testing? Because don't forget, if we looked at this, we should be testing, is the data flow producing what we want? And also we need to be aware, do we want the data flow to always be pointed to production, QA, dev? Are there other systems out there that we can test with? The chances are, probably aren't, realistically, okay? People tell you, we've got a dev system, we've got a test system, we've got them. Are they identical to production? They will always tell you yes, but they will also go, okay? Because yes is roughly right. It's probably as good as it's going to get. It's about right. And that's a problem when it comes to building analytics that are doing aggregations across it. Those subtle variations amplify. So just be aware. Yeah. Okay. Let us know down below what you think though, because this is one of those things that I know I do this day in, day out. We talk about this, but I constantly have people going, I don't understand. If I'm not explaining it right, tell me. I want to get better at helping people to get the most out of this. Yeah? Excellent. For now though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.